I wanted to review the group assignment that we had for week 10. In monopolistic competition and oligopoly, a table is presented, and on the table we have output, we have total cost, we have marginal cost, the quantity demanded, the price, and the marginal revenue. And so we have to calculate what the marginal cost is. So we remember that marginal cost is the change in output over the change in total cost divided by the change in output. So if we take a look, if we go from 1 unit of output to 2 units of output, we see that the total cost is 135 at 2 and 120 at 1. And so we take 130 minus 120, that gives us our marginal cost of 15. Going from 2 to 3, we see that our total cost is 165 and our total cost at 2 is 135. So 165 minus 135 is 30. Now we also need to get our marginal revenue. And so we recognize that in order to get to total revenue is always going to be price times quantity. And to get to marginal revenue, we're going to take the last total revenue minus the last total revenue, and that gives us our marginal revenue. So if we take 2 units and we say that the total revenue for 2 units, at 2 units, the price is 150. So that's 2 times 150, and that equals 300. And for 1 unit, it would be 1 times a price of 165. So that's 300 minus 165. And that's equal to 135. So I think it's important that we understand how we get to marginal revenue. And we recognize that in terms of marginal revenue, that's kind of a 2-step thing, because we have to take the output times the price to get to total revenue. And then that gives us our total revenue. So we almost have to create a separate column for total revenue. And we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be the last total revenue. For example, when we go from 2 to 3, the total revenue at 2 is 300. And the total revenue at 3 is 3 times 135, whatever that is. And so that would be 3 times 135. I assume that is 405. So it's going to be 405. That's the total revenue for 3 units minus total revenue for 2 units. And that gives us 105, our marginal revenue of 105. Okay, now once we have our marginal cost and our marginal revenue, let's go down and see what they're going to ask for in terms of the other questions. So if we go down, we say, assume the short run cost and demand data given the table above, it's actually below, confront a monopolistic competitor selling a given product, engaged in a given amount of product promotion, compute the marginal cost and marginal revenue of each unit. So we've done that. At what output level and at what price will the firm produce in the short run? It's going to produce at our profit maximizing level of output. And the profit maximizing level of output is going to be where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And so we're going to go down here and we're going to say, where does that occur? Are they going to produce 1 unit? So we go back and we take a look and say marginal cost at 1 unit is 45. Marginal revenue is 165. So marginal revenue is greater than 45. So they'll produce that unit. Will they produce the second unit? Marginal revenue is 135. Marginal cost is 15. Yes, they'll produce that unit. At 3 units, should they produce the third unit? Marginal revenue is 105. Marginal cost is 30. Yes, they'll produce that unit. At the 4th unit, marginal revenue is 75, marginal cost is 45, so yes, they'll produce that unit. At the 5th unit, marginal revenue is 45, In other words, what they make from trying to sell the fifth unit is 45, the marginal revenue that they get from the fifth unit, but the marginal cost for that fifth unit is 60. And so we say, no, a rational producer will not produce the fifth unit, so they'll produce 4 units. And at 4 units, we take a look and we say, what's the price at 4 units? The price at 4 units is 120. And so the total revenue for 4 units is 4 times 120. And that's equal to 480. And so now we're going to say, well, what is the profit? So the profit is going to be 480. That's total revenue minus total cost. There's the total cost minus 210. And so the profit is going to be equal to 470. Excuse me, 270. Profit's going to be 270. Quantities 4, price 120, profit 270. And then it says, well, what's going to happen in the long run? So we remember the characteristics of monopolistic competition, many sellers, low barriers to entry, a product that is differentiated, but there's still many substitutes and relatively low barriers to entry. So more companies are going to be entering as a result of more companies entering, just like in pure competition, more companies that enter. That's going to bring down the price for the industry, and each firm is going to be making a little bit less. So in the long run, we remember what monopolistic competition is going to look like. So remember what the graph is going to look like. Downward sloping demand curve, downward sloping marginal revenue curve, the profit maximizing where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And in the long run, what's going to happen in terms of average total cost is that the average total cost curve is going to be tangent to the demand curve. And we recognize that in monopolistic competition, there's going to be 0 economic profit. There will be some accounting profit. And we're not allocative and productively efficient because the price, profit maximizing price, is going to be above where marginal cost would be on the demand curve. So that's not allocative efficient. And we're above the minimum of average total cost. Price is above the minimum of average total cost. So in monopolistic competition, that's where we buy most of our products. That's the model that most of us buy our products from. But it's not allocatively efficient as if there were more competition, nor productively efficient as if there were more competition. Okay, hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.